Welcome, everybody, to the Thursday night edition of the OHIO Podcast Call-In Show. I am your host for the night, the Wildman, Chris Wilds, filling in for Buckeye Boggs, who's a little under the weather tonight. And, hey, guys, great day to be a Buckeye, as is every day. Anyhow, just want to start out by saying make sure that you smash that like button, as Eric likes to say. Go in, like, subscribe. Hey, if you like what we do, consider going ahead and becoming a member of the channel officially. It's only $3.99 a month to do so. All kinds of great features, including free shipping from the store. You get your t-shirt after 31 days of being a member. And then you also get access to our online preview, our season preview magazine, which we're going to have to get on right away. Looks like the chat is already hopping tonight. We got 79 Jedi Buck. Want to know where Burks is at tonight. I don't know if he's coming back tonight. I maybe chased him off on Monday. I don't know. The Podfather's head cold is in, is in the house tonight. Yeah, Eric's a little under the weather tonight, guys. How am I doing tonight? I am awesome. Every day is a good day. Steely's in the chat tonight. How you doing, Steely? So, before we get started, just want to remind everybody, we are the official Ohio State podcast of Scarlet Game and Fansided. Please go over to Scarlet Game and Fansided. Check out our audio version if, you don't want to take a look at us. And as Eric says, who can blame you? Also, check out some great articles written by a ton of great journalists, including our buddy Buckeye Boggs. We are also the official Ohio State podcast of the College Huddle. Hop on over to the College Huddle, where I believe Eric is now up to having 76 podcasts that have signed up. And hey, guys, if you're looking for any information on college football, the College Huddle is the place to be. So Andre asks, would you like for Burks to call in tonight so you can renew? Guys, Burks is normally a pretty level-headed guy. And I think we ended that conversation well. But I have to agree with the Podfather's head cold. My friend Burks is a little bit delusional. To think that nothing's going to happen to these guys is absolutely insane. Absolutely wild. So, anyways. Oh, looks like we had a little tech difficulty tonight. We had some people on a different link. We got them coming into the house now. And look at this. The numbers are popping as we go. Gotta love it. So let's get this thing started tonight, guys. What do we want to talk about? Are we wanting to talk about yet another big safety commit we had today? I mean, I know Simeon Caldwell is listed as the number 7 linebacker in the country, according to 247 Sports Composite. But guys, everything I'm hearing is saying this guy's going to slide to safety. 6'3", 185, tremendous athlete, offers from just about everywhere in the world. I really feel like this was just another in the latest line of big gets from Matt Guerrieri and the OG Coach Walt. Aside from that, before we get started taking calls, I do want to mention to everybody, don't forget that we have coming up in less than a week now, our big spring. Hey, Eric, we have to change this graphic. It's no longer a showcase. It is again officially a spring game, guys. But the OHIO podcast and Second and 7 are going to combine to bring you the spring game fan appreciation tailgate. There's going to be former Buckeyes up in the house to sign some autographs. We're going to have all kinds of prizes, including some autographed memorabilia that I know one Ryan Miller is going to be bringing along. Myself, I'm going to be bringing some items to give away. We'll have some OHIO podcast merch. We're going to have some great Ohio State merch to give away. So make sure you stop on by the tailgate. We're going to be right outside of the French Field House near the bike path. Just kind of take a look at the map that Eric has drawn up here for us. Oh, lots of new people coming in. We got Richard Wallhorn and Aaron's in the house now. Guys, welcome, welcome. So without further ado, we do have a full bank of calls already. And guys, I want to keep them coming all night. We'll stay on here as long as you guys are calling. What's Coconut got to say? Good to see Coconut. Burks kept saying things like, nothing's going to happen. Then he would flip to guilty. Yeah, I'm not sure what's happening there. He's a confused young man. That's all I can say. Good guy, but a confused young man. Aaron wants to know, can you attend the tailgate if you're not going to the game? Absolutely. Absolutely. If you don't want to go to the game or can't go to the game, that's fine. Still stop on by the tailgate. We would be happy to have you there. Oh, we got Corey in the house. Yeah, no Podfather tonight. Podfather is doing his best imitation of me. He's down with a little flu bug. He's not feeling so well tonight, so I'm trying to keep it going. All right, guys. Without any further ado, we're going to jump on over to our first caller. And guys, I got a feeling I know who this is. This guy was in my queue before I even got dialed. Cade, what's happening, brother?
Hey, what's up, Wildman? How we doing tonight, my good sir?
Hey, I'm feeling great. I had myself a little Wolverine snack on Monday, and I'm feeling great today.
You know what? I'm going to be honest with you, Eric. Get well soon, my guy. And Chris, I was going to tell you, I'll try to make it out to the tailgate if I ain't busy with the family farm that I help on.
Yeah,
unless something doesn't go wrong. But you know what, Wildman? As my good friend Ian McDermott says, everything is proceeding as I have foreseen. Well, I'll tell you what, Ohio State is doing everything as they are, and the team is looking as sharp as they are, as they say, iron sharpens iron. Well, I'm confident Ohio State will be the team this year to do it again. Go to a national championship, make it to the playoffs, and show everybody why Ohio State is the number one team in the Big Ten. That's a fact. Now, as far as Burks is concerned, Burks wouldn't even dare come up in here and say any insults to you nor Eric Boggs of the OHIO podcast, the host of the OHIO podcast, because that little maize and blue coward is no man. Oh, no. I'll tell you who he exactly is. Wildman.
Be nice. The family-friendly ratings back on tonight.
Oh, Burks is even here.
No, I'm just saying our family-friendly ratings back on tonight. So be nice. The kids could be watching.
I'm gonna be friendly, Wildman. Don't you worry. Chris is just a simple maize and blue loving coward. Is all I got to say.
Well, I'm going to give him this, Caden. This I'm going to give him. He had more guts than most because he actually called in to an Ohio State podcast and tried to plead his case. And you know what?
Well, you know it.
When we broke it off, Chris, we broke it off amicably. But yeah, go ahead.
You know what's funny about that? While I was listening to him running his mouth, you know, I found it funny that he had the guts to come on here and talk all his smack. And still, his team went downhill like I said they would. That's a real dummy right there. That's a real 5-star dummy. Doo-doo-doo-doo.
Caden, you are one of a kind. What else you got on your mind?
You know, I'm surprised that Naughty's and Johnny Boy calls, and that's a real 5-star dummy. I'm surprised him and Burks are in the same circus. Jeez.
I'm not going to try to cast aspersions upon anybody. I just want them to take the time to think things out logically. I know you're a fan first, but you know what? Guys, just think it out logically. That's all I'm going to ask. Think it out logically before
No,
you
no,
come on here and make some kind of outlandish statement like nothing's going to happen. That's all I ask.
oh, no, that is no problem, Chris. I just like having a little fun on this podcast. I mean, come on. You can't blame me for being so energetic and so, well, clever as I am.
There you go, Caden. There you go. So, anything else on your mind before
The
we?
Ohio podcast.
Yeah.
The Ohio podcast made a good point. I called into the Iro is Irish show yesterday and then proceeded to get banned from the show. SMH. Well, you know what,
Come on, man. Don't be messing with Kennedy. He's a good guy.
You know what? I was just having my fun because we own Notre Dame. Ohio State owns Notre Dame. So you gotta let him remind him that Ohio State, as long as they're the powerhouse in the Big Ten, as dominant as they are, they're always gonna own Notre Dame. Actually, Notre Lame.
Oh, Caden. I don't disagree with you.
And as I like to say again, Johnny or Chrissy boy, everything is proceeding as I have foreseen, and everything has transpired, and so according to my design. Well, because I'm the master of it, and because I'm such a genius, and also because I'm such a Buckeye fan that has fulfilled the future, that I was every voice that has ever haunted inside Johnny's head.
Okay, Caden.
Now how can you be that talented, Wildman? You have Caden the man, the talented son of a gun from Columbus. That's up in here. That's that talented. Enough. I mean, come on. A diehard Buckeye fan who's a bit of an actor, an impersonator. And I mean, come on. You got to enjoy it, Chrissy boy. Both you and I both know that this is the most funny part of the show. I mean, come on, everybody on the OHIO podcast loves Caden the man. I mean, speaking from, I'm asking you, fans, can we get a question? Can we get can we get some? Can everybody type in hashtag Caden in the comments if you like me on the podcast here, doing a little here and there and a little bit of acting and impersonating? Can I get some hashtag Caden the man in here? Come on, guys.
I'll tell you what, Caden. Hey, Caden, we'll watch. Caden, we'll watch for that, man. But I got a full bank of calls. I got to get moving, brother. You.
Can we put up a poll up, Chris?
We'll see. Pull up the Chris. We'll talk to Eric about that.
That says
Eric's our poll
you
guy.
And Eric talk about this. Put up a poll that says if you fans of the OHL podcast like Caden, you can say yes or no. That's simple. And then Eric can say his response to me once he gets back on the podcast show. But you know what? I'll leave it to you, Wildman. And go Bucks. And remember, everything is proceeding as I had foreseen.
All
and
right,
just
man.
So you know, I'm always here if you need.
All right, brother. You take it easy. OH. Whoop, he dropped. All right, man. Well, speaking myself, I consider myself a bit of a Wolverine killer, but I think we got the original Wolverine killer on the line. Is this the Wolverine killer right here?
What up, Chris?
What's going on, TG? How's it going?
Oh man, I just got off an interview with G. Scott Sr., G. Scott Jr.'s father.
Yeah.
Y'all can check it out on the Buckeye Boys.
Yeah. Yeah. So
I never got a chance to call in. Oh, things have been going great. Now, I noticed I never got a chance to call into your show on Monday because I was so freaking tired on Monday. I was just exhausted. But I did get a chance to catch what Burks had to say. And I'm going to applaud Burks for having the balls to come on here and try to defend it. But it's like, my brother, you're delusional. My brother, you're delusional. I'm sorry. I love you, but you're delusional, man. You were at one point pretty reasonable, but now you're talking about nothing's going to happen. Really, dude? Are you serious? You and I both know that when it comes down to our when it comes down to our scumbags up north, I talked about this with Sean after the show went off the air about how this is so much worse than Jerry Sandusky because of the fact that the school covered this up. And I said to myself, if you're Jerry Sandusky, you should have went here, knowing how scumbag this program is. Because, Chris, did you know that Michigan has way more scandals like this going back all the way to the Bo Schembechler era, even before then?
Oh, yeah.
Did you know that?
Yeah, I did know that.
It's super funny.
It's twisted.
It's crazy. What's super funny is like they never covered this stuff. That's what's so irritating. It's like, why would you not cover this? Now, it's pretty much because Michigan owns the media, the Michigan beat writers, as far as I'm going. Like Scam Webb, his house is paid for by and for Michigan. And his wife works there too. And it's so irritating. I'm like, dude, you gotta be honest. And it's like, this is where I'm going back when I'm saying, if you're Jerry Sandusky, you can literally go in there and say, I molested a couple kids, and they would literally just slide on the door. I'm not even joking. I mean that. They literally would do that because they are that sickening of a program. They don't care about these kids. They don't care about their athletes. They don't care about none of them. I mean, you're willing to put them all in danger for what? Because you want to win? Because you're this desperate? What is wrong with you? Man, and not only that, but with the way the media covers this, dude, if this was Ohio State, you would have new trucks everywhere. I mean, we don't have to be reminded of the tattoo scam. We bring it up all the time. You literally would think that Jim Tressel done killed someone. You would think the Tattoo Five were involved in drug rings. Or you would think that would happen at what's going on with Michigan is what was happening at Ohio State when you look at the freaking media coverage. And then you realize it's tattoos versus what's going on at the team up north, and you won't see none of that. It's like, are they that irrelevant?
And here's the thing, TG. They will sit there and say, well, you would respond the same way. Hell no, we wouldn't. You can ask Eric. You can ask anybody who's watched this podcast for any length of time. I still hold a grudge against these guys that did the tattoo thing. I still have issue with these guys.
I don't hold that big of a grudge. Look, I find it stupid that they broke the rules, but I don't hold that big of a grudge. I'm not going to lie. Now, again,
holding a grudge is my superpower.
Yes. Now, they shouldn't have broke the rules, but I'm not going to lie. Even everybody agrees that was the dumbest thing for them to get in trouble for. And it's like, wait a minute, you're busting them for tattoos, but what about what's going on in the SEC with the bag man on the table? Like, you're not doing nothing about that? Because that's so much worse.
Yeah, I get you. I agree with you 100%. I agree with you. As
that's
scandals
what really
go,
ticks me off. Is like,
yeah,
that's what ticks me off. Is like, how is Ohio State getting in trouble for something like tattoos? You got teams down in the SEC that were doing NIL before NIL was illegal, and then when you look at how they're covering this stuff with their team up north, it's like, where is it? Like, y'all will be going into legit media. Y'all will be trying to dig up for information. Y'all were doing that for tattoos. Why are you not doing this for this?
You know, and this
That's
is the
crazy.
thing. I agree with you. It's crazy that this isn't getting the attention it should. But at the same time, I think a lot of your more mainstream media outlets are in a wait and see mode to find out just how bad this thing is when the FBI releases their information. You know, the people who are out there providing commentary, like ourselves, like you guys on the Buckeye Boys, like the people on Scoop, the people who are providing commentary, we're not afraid to go ahead and say it. We know what trash these people are. But I think your mainstream people are probably trying to hold back a little. And as you said, the Michigan media is bought and paid for. So,
which is ridiculous. It's just so freaking sad. Like I said, if you are a predator, you can go to this school just knowing you can take advantage because this school is so willing to cover that stuff up. It is really sickening. That's why I kind of wanted. I actually asked Sean, can he reach out to that former Wolverine player who exposed Michigan on CNN because he flat out hates Michigan because he was one of those players that was abused by Bo Schembechler's friend who was a doctor for the team. Who was abusing him and his son, and Bo Schembechler did absolutely nothing. I'm like, and he literally said, like, if you report anything at Michigan, it is a black hole. Like, I get for some people, you would look at it and think it's just an allegation, but you still suspend the guy, first of all. And secondly, because you have a program that has a history of doing this, you can't really deny it. And think about, and guess what? They They went from 4 people suing them to now like 11 more people.
I believe it's up to 17
it's only gonna
as of today.
Oh, it's 17 now?
I believe it's up to
God.
17.
It literally was
today.
up to 11. Yeah, it literally was just up to 11 early today. And if it went up to 17, oh my God. And it's going to cost them like billions. Because I believe the lawsuits are up to like, what, $50 million?
I'll be honest, I don't know the numbers on it. I'll try to have that information when we come back next week or maybe even Sunday. But
yeah, I saw information come out saying that it's all about like like with the 11 that I know of, they are trying to get $50 million out of this program.
Yeah, TG, this is just so fluid. The numbers are just gonna keep going up. They're just gonna keep piling up. It is gonna be scary.
Yep. And think about it. We talk about it. These civil lawyers are scumbags, but they're doing this to scumbags because this is the biggest data breach in U.S. history. You dumb morons literally just let this happen. And you want to know what's funny? I wonder if they knew this was happening the entire time. Because do you know when Matt Weiss got his coaching credentials for Michigan?
It was before he was hired. Or before he was out there.
2015.
Yeah.
Is when 2015, back when he was still with the Ravens and he had access to Michigan's stuff long beforehand. And it's like, okay, we got to know the story behind that because that is so weird. I'm like, well, since when did you get access to that stuff?
TG, tell me if I was this far off, and I don't know if you got to hear the whole thing with me and Burks the other night or not, but I had mentioned, I truly believe that Connor Stallions and Matt Weiss both did exactly what they were hired to do. They knew what they were hiring. Michigan knew, Harbaugh knew. They all knew what they were hiring. Now, I don't think that Michigan necessarily knew about him being a little deviant, obviously. He's got some deviant behaviors going on, and I don't necessarily know that they knew about that. However, they found out about it early enough where they could have done something about it. The cover-up to me is a big, big part of my issue with this. But I believe that the hacking, I believe that the cheating, that's exactly what they were hired to do. I don't think I'm that off base on that.
You know what? That's what I was thinking from the very beginning, because do you know that Connor Stallions had been premeditated this idea before? Because what people don't know is there is an Ohio State-Michigan connection to this. Yeah. It goes all the way back with Ohio State President Ted Carter, who was the superintendent at the Navy Academy. And Connor Stallions literally approached like not only the coaches, but the Navy brass about doing the cheating scandal that he's done for Michigan, doing it to Army so they never lose to Army again after they lost that game. And they all turned that down, saying, no, this would literally devalue, like dishonor the game between Navy and Army. They weren't willing to do that because that would just dishonor it, disrespect it. Like, heck no. And if I'm not mistaken, Ted Carter had told the NCAA that, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, I believe it was
so. Buckeye Scoop who said, I believe it was Buckeye Scoop who said Ted Carter had told the NCAA that he had been premeditated this idea. And this is pretty much why I do believe the Michigan brass knew, because if Connor Stallions was willing to do that at the Navy, what would tell you he wouldn't do it at Michigan? Because the coaches clearly knew. And in my opinion, if you were bold enough to go up to the brass to tell them of the Navy to tell them this, why would I not believe you would do that in Michigan? And you tell them the key word: never lose to Ohio State again. You're telling me they ain't sold on that?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely, they'd be sold on that.
That'd be the biggest reason why they would allow this to happen.
Yeah, and Corey poses a good question here. Was Michigan willing to just kind of accept Weiss's behavior because of the possibility of benefiting from his hacking?
Yes. Like, they are that kind of program, man. Like I said, if Jerry Sandusky, they'd be willing to hire him, even if it meant sexually, doing inappropriate stuff with the kids on their program, if it meant winning. Because remember, he was doing that at Penn State for those kids to win. That's what the whole reason he was doing that for, but also because he's a pervert himself. He would do that at Michigan, and Michigan would not care. That's the whole purpose of them. They'd be willing to do that with Matt Weiss too. I promise you.
Yeah. I don't disagree with you, TG. Anything else on your mind tonight?
That's why it's so sick. Yeah. No, not really. Honestly, I just wanted to come in and kind of get my 2 cents on the whole stuff with Michigan, because since I never got a chance to do it on your last call, I figured I'd do it on this one. And I can't wait for those scumbags to get hit. Because again, people think when we say the hammer at this point, it's just like, it's gonna come. I think we all know this. Like, the NCAA can't ignore it. And be aware within like maybe the next month or two, the third NOA to come out with the Matt White stuff. Just heads up.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, the only thing I wonder is, does this delay the cheating scandal kind of verdict a little bit because of what may be on that computer? Because we've heard rumors of you know, practice footage and things like that on his computers. Obviously medical records, perhaps some gambling information that may be linked to his computers. And again,
that's all on that third NOA.
I can't 100% speak on that, but I think that's part of a new NOA. But if it's linked to the cheating investigation, is that going to delay the outcome of that even further? So,
it could, or they could, punish them now, and then once that is done, they can actually, continue the punishments until that third NOA, because it's a great chance the punishments could be even worse on that third one.
Yeah, no doubt. These guys are definitely, well, they're more than 3-time losers, TG. They're a mess up there. You know, you want to talk about, we like to make fun of the culture down at Georgia. I said this Monday night, they are worse than SMU. They are worse than anything we saw out of Miami in the 80s and 90s. They are worse than USC. They're definitely worse than Tattoos. And by God, they, I think you have convinced me, I think, on this cover-up aspect, they are worse than the Jerry Sandusky scandal, because they are so complicit in the cover-up, whereas as I believe that had Penn State known, they would have taken the corrective actions. So
absolutely.
you
they
have
literally say it themselves.
You've persuaded
everybody
me.
says it at who used to work at Penn State. They say it all the time. Like, they wish they'd known ahead of time, because then they would have fired them. If anything, got them arrested and sent to prison.
Yeah, 100%. All right, TG, I got a couple more. Oh, go ahead.
I know. All I was going to say is, this is why the scum up north, because Blue Wolverine has said things about how we think because of us losing to them is why we are saying what we're saying about the rivalry game, why we don't want them as rivals. That's not it. No. The reason why we say this, that we don't want them to be our rivals, that we don't want to be associated with them, is because your program is disgusting. Everything y'all have done has disrespected and spat in the face of the rivalry. I don't expect the rivalry to ever get talked about in a positive light again if this stuff ever comes. If the media does get all this, they're never going to talk about the rivalry again like the way they used to, because why would you want to give any notoriety to a scumbag of a program? Because at least with Penn State, they owned the fact that they couldn't protect those kids, and they fired him and they got rid of him and vowed to try to make things right with those kids. Whereas y'all don't give a damn about these kids. Y'all are willing to sacrifice them for anything. You are sickening human beings. You're not worthy of being in a rivalry with Ohio State. Honestly, it's what kept y'all relevant for 80 years. Because you should be like Nebraska. Because what kept their blue blood status out? They don't got a rivalry like this. So no, y'all don't deserve to be in a rivalry no matter what, because of how sickening your program is and how you disrespected everything about this program, about our rivalry.
I agree 100%. 100% behind you on that one. They should be kicked out of the Big Ten. They should be kicked out of college athletics altogether. They should not be allowed to field a team in any sport. They are
think about it. Their stupidity also got them turned on by the Big Ten commissioner, Tony Petitti. Tony Petitti hates them. Like, good job, you morons. You should have never gave him the double middle finger and threatened to sue him. Instead, now you got him to hate on you.
Yeah. They have no friends. And then I saw this crazy thing today where supposedly they were voted the most popular team in the country. I just had to laugh. I laughed myself to tears when I saw that. I'm gonna have to go back and find where I saw that on Twitter, because my God, that in itself is worthy of a whole show talking about that. That is that.
Oh, please bring me on that show. Please bring me on that show. Please bring me on that show, because I will rip that to shreds.
I'll have to go back and try to find that tweet again, man, because that was ridiculous. All right, TG, I got a couple calls in queue, so I'm gonna have to let you go. But thanks for calling in.
Hey, thanks for having me, Chris. I'm glad I called in.
Always.
I hope Eric gets better, by the way, Eric.
Yeah.
I know.
Go Bucks. Aaron may have a good point here. Maybe they're just most popular because of their scandals. I don't know. Could be. Oh, I know this number. I definitely know this number. As Eric likes to call him, the man, the myth, the legend. Ray, are you there?
Wow, man. What's going
happening? On? Oh, I'm trying to fill in on Thursday
Eric,
night.
What's wrong with Eric?
He's got himself a little cold. Actually, I think what he's got is the flu. I should say a little cold. He's pretty.
Tell me I'm praying for him. I've been getting all these shots, and I don't know. They tell me a week is good for 9 months to a year, but after 8 days of my last shot, I still ain't moving enough to be able to go back out jogging. But I can still jog backwards. It's frontwards where I'm having my problems. But just pray for me that it gets better.
Absolutely. Hey, I got to tell you, Ray, I can barely walk backwards. I'm a teacher, and sometimes, I gotta watch the little kids there because they get a little out of line walking down the hallways. So I'll turn around and try to walk backward. I trip over my own feet. I don't know how you're out there running backwards. I really don't.
Well, I've did it 40 years. I'm used to it now. But anyways, Roger Goodell, when this is all over with, which they're going to have the hammer on. If they don't, the NCAA is the biggest cowards I ever seen in my life. They need to knock him right out of his job with the San Diego Chargers. They're talking about the Chargers today. That they moved that team from San Diego to LA, and that's the only team that would have took Harbaugh because they're gutless for moving the team from San Diego to LA. That don't make no sense because you got the Rams there and they got the Chargers there. It doesn't make any sense, but nothing makes any sense unless it's money talks. And the same with Michigan. I go back to Darryl Rogers. Do you remember him 40, 50 years ago?
I don't remember him now.
Well, he was a coach of Michigan State to start with.
Yeah.
40 years ago, he whipped Michigan's ass up in
I like him already.
Lansing. Yeah, he beat him in Lansing. And you know what he said about Michigan?
What's that?
He said they're the biggest arrogant asses I've ever seen in my life.
No doubt about that.
And he's right. He was 40 years later. He was right. They are the biggest arrogant asses. Can you believe that they give Warren Manuel, and I don't know, because they won the national title 2 years ago, they let him be on the NCAA, for the playoff deal. And this guy should have been fired 3 or 4 years ago if you had any courage at all. You extended Harbaugh's contract, trying to keep him there before he run out of town because he knew that they weren't going to protect him from the NCAA. They have nothing but give people extensions on their contracts since all this crap went on. I don't know how you can't consider all that NCAA uncontrolled Constitution stuff.
Yeah, it's total lack of institutional control, no doubt. 100%.
It's crazy. Hey, we'll go on to one other thing. I'm pretty frustrated. We had our, a week ago, they had their pro days.
Yeah.
And I watched YouTube, and they never give me any details like I wanted to know. Did Will Howard run the 40-yard dash?
I do believe he did. I did not see his time. I do know this.
Check and see if you can find the time.
Yeah, I'll have to see.
Nobody give me a time on that. They got him ranked from the 4th or 5th best quarterback. Now they got him down to 9th. So he must have not did good on the 40-yard dash or throwing the ball.
Oh, he looked great throwing the ball. I saw every three he made.
Yeah. I heard that part. He did throw the ball. But check quickest 40-yard. And what about Trey Henderson? Did he run the 40 again? Because he ran 4.43 at the combine. I thought he could run 4.3. Did he run the 40-yard dash again?
I believe it. I know that this is what I'll say. I know that Quinshawn said out of all of everything, but he had such a good combine. It didn't make sense for him to, run again because all he could have really did was hurt himself. According to CBS Sports, Will Howard did run a 40-yard dash at Pro Day, and he ran a 4.540, according to CBS Sports.
4.540. That's pretty decent, ain't it?
Travion did not, however, run the 40.
Oh, okay. He didn't run it. But what?
Will
Howard for a quarterback, ain't that pretty good time? 4.5.
4.5 is not a bad time for anybody. I mean, right, well, it's maybe not corner or wide receiver time, but
explain to me why they've got him. All these NFL networks and all these other people got him ranked as the 9th best quarterback now. I said, how did he drop so far?
I don't know. I can't explain that to you because I'll tell you what. If he is the 9th quarterback off the board, somebody's getting a hell of a steal. Right. This guy is among the best as far as leadership goes. He doesn't have maybe necessarily the deep accuracy of a couple of the guys.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what, his mid-range accuracy is great. His athleticism is great. He's a great leader. He's got a good mind for the game. And that guy's got more heart than anybody I've ever seen.
Well, he ran all over Notre Dame there at the last. I know he didn't run a lot of times where I wanted him to run, but I don't think he was ever the same when he got hit. Took that one hit by that Michigan guy. Even though he played that game, the rest
he was
even
concussed.
though he was putting on a good face. He what?
He was concussed. I have no doubt about it. He had a concussion.
Yeah, I don't think he was. I don't think it just didn't look like him because he played so much better than that during the playoffs. But where do you have these guys ranked? I mean, we're almost at the draft now. Have you broke it down at all?
I actually did a video breaking it down a little bit a few weeks ago. In fact, it was the night of the pro day, I believe. But I'll tell you what, on the 20th, we're going to have our annual draft show where Eric and myself, Corey, I believe, is on that night as well. We'll actually pick where we see these guys going. And we do a mock draft game, and then, of course, we give away prizes to the winner. And we've had a few different people win. I know Eric's won, I think, a couple times, but we've had a couple of the listeners win a few times. And we usually give out some type of memorabilia, maybe an autograph or something, to the winner of that. So make sure to tune in on.
Break down all the 17 players we got. Where you think they might end up? What round or whatever?
Like you want me to do it right now? I mean, I probably could.
If you don't mind.
Sure.
You don't mind.
All right. Give me 1 second. I want to pull up the whole list so that I don't.
Yeah, I'm excited about the kids because I love all them kids because they always talk about Jesus. You know, they're very godly people.
Okay.
They're not embarrassed to show their faith.
Yeah. Oh, Skeeter's going to be on with us from the Missouri podcast. He's going to be helping us out on that one with the draft game. But okay, I'm just going to start with Will Howard. Will Howard, I've said this all along. Originally, I thought he was a 3rd to 4th round guy. I feel like he could be a 2nd to 3rd round guy with what we saw from his pro day. I think 3rd's probably the sweet spot for him.
Yeah.
I like him to maybe a Philadelphia, a Pittsburgh, Los Angeles, I could see, or Las Vegas rather, I could see going after him. I think him and Chip Kelly might be kind
What
of.
about the Cleveland Browns? What about the Cleveland
And
Browns?
I went on record as saying this, Ray. I'm a Browns fan, but I like Will Howard too much to wish that upon him.
Yeah, they've had a lot
that's rough.
I know all the quarterbacks they've ever picked.
Yeah.
You know, I can't. The last time I remember them being great was when I was a kid, when Jimmy Brown was there, the running back. Is dead now, and they had Paul Warfield and stuff. That goes back 40, 50 years. They haven't did anything since then.
Yeah. Yeah. So
they're the same boat the Detroit Lions were until the Lions turned it around the last couple of years. So
they have.
Maybe the Browns could finally turn it around after 40 or 50 years, because nobody ever thought the Lions could ever turn it around.
Yeah. So our running backs, I see both those guys probably second round, to be honest. I'd like to see them slide into the first.
Right.
But there's just not a value placed on running back anymore. So I think they'll probably both go in the second. I think Chicago's a good landing spot. Well, not a good landing spot, but I think it's a landing spot. Don't be surprised if maybe Cleveland doesn't want to pursue one of these guys based upon the fact that, who knows what's going on with Nick Chubb. Will they try to re-sign him? Is he going to end up somewhere else? Travion is the most complete back in the draft. I wouldn't be surprised to see maybe the Jets maybe try to move on him if they could. Cowboys would be interested in either of these backs. Emeka's going to be a first round guy. I had thought originally he was going to be going to Pittsburgh, to be honest, but I think with them acquiring Metcalf, I kind of moved on from that. I don't think he gets low enough, but maybe watch the Texans make a move up a couple slots to get him. I think CJ would love to have him. Donovan, probably a second round guy, maybe third round, but I think he's probably a second round guy. Seth, probably a third round guy. Simmons is going to go first round. He's going to be a big get for somebody. Simmons is going to be a starter out of the gate, I think. Ty Hamilton.
You're saying Jack Sawyer?
No, Josh Simmons.
Instead of a second round pick, he's
Simmons.
A second round pick, ain't he?
No, Josh will be a first round pick.
Oh, Josh Simmons.
Yeah. Ty Hamilton, probably later rounds. I'm going to guess he's a day 3 guy, probably somewhere between the 5th and 7th round. Jack Sawyer, I think he's not getting the respect he deserves. Personally, I think he should be a second round pick at worst. I think he probably is late second, early third. Watch the Bengals and Browns both to be in play for him. JT Tuimoloau, I've heard a lot about him possibly going second round to the Bears. The Bears really like him. Tyreek, he's a guy I'm not 100% sure about. I thought he was a first round guy. I don't know if he hurt himself at all with that fall that he took. I don't know how severe of the injury to the hamstring was, but he fell when he was running his 40 and did something to his hamstring. Probably a second, could slide to the third, just depending on how the hammy's coming.
Right.
Cody Simon, I like Cody a lot. I think he's going to be one of those draft day steals. Right now, I'm going to say probably a 3rd or 4th round pick. Denzel Burke. Most people have him going 3rd, 4th round. I got him in the 2nd round. I think he's a great corner. Watch Mike Vrabel to be in play on him. Don't be surprised if Mike Vrabel doesn't go out and get himself a couple of lockdown guys, because in the 1st round, I look for them to take Travis Hunter, the kid out of Colorado, who's the wide receiver / DB. Don't be surprised if he doesn't come back in the 2nd and try to nail Burke and get a couple of lockdown corners. Jordan Hancock, right now, without being on the spot without any of my notes or anything, I'm going to say probably third round. Minnesota, Green Bay might be in play on him. Lathan Ransom, I've heard third round. I guess Tampa Bay's got some interest in him from what I'm told, but I don't know 100%. Other guys that would be in the mix would be Josh Fryer. He had a decent pro day. I would not be surprised if maybe somebody didn't take a flyer on him in the 7th round. And I would say the same thing on G. Scott Jr. I think he's somebody who his receiving ability. I think he's a guy that can get himself drafted late, maybe a 7th round pick. But with those last two, I do think that there is always the possibility that you could see them go as undrafted free agents as well.
I heard Scott had a good 40.
He did. He had a good 40.
Tight end.
Good hands. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, remember, he came in as a wide receiver, though. So.
Right.
And a fairly high wide receiver.
It sounds like to me what you just said, they're all going to make some pretty good money.
None of these guys are going to be hurt.
Yeah, so, and they all deserve it after they won a national title.
Yeah, I agree 100%. So.
Hey, let's go back to one thing here, okay?
Yeah, good, Ray.
Now, are you trying to tell me, Jack? What's the guy's name? That not Jim Harbaugh, the other one. What's his name?
Jim Harbaugh, Connor Stallions. Matt Weiss.
No, the other brother that.
Oh, John Harbaugh.
Baltimore Ravens. What's his?
John Harbaugh.
John. You're trying to tell me, John and Jim, okay?
Yep.
I'm telling you guys right now. You both knew this Weiss guy for 5 years, was doing it with the Ravens. Didn't know anything about it. And then you're trying to tell me, Jimmy, that you knew him from way back before that.
Well, yeah, because he coached with Jim at Stanford.
Didn't know anything about it. You already hear Harbaugh talking about all the lies that he didn't know a thing like everything else. He hasn't.
Yeah.
Does he really think we're that crazy? Does he really think we're that crazy? And the NCAA is that crazy not to know that he didn't know all this stuff?
Well, he's the guy that, didn't know the guy he gave the game ball to. So.
Yeah, it's crazy. These people are so delusionary. I just can't believe it. Roger Goodell has to lay the law down on this guy. And I'd kick him right out as a coach, not even a coach in the NFL, wouldn't you?
Here's the thing. I think it's hard for Goodell, given that nothing occurred there. But at the same time, if we remember right, when Tressel went to the NFL, he had to serve a suspension coming from what the NCAA had doled out to him. So I think if the NCAA had moved quicker, like in Harbaugh's first year, I think he probably gets some kind of suspension. But because it took so long and it's still ongoing, I don't think anything happens to Harbaugh in the league. I would not be surprised to see Harbaugh get a serious ban from college athletics, but I don't see the league doing anything to him.
Yeah. It's too bad. I was pretty happy Friday night. You know what I'm talking about?
What's that?
The Auburn Tigers.
The basketball
up and
team,
down the court. They kicked their ass. I was so happy to get them up. What I couldn't believe is they had lost 3 straight home games and got blown out, and should have lost to Rutgers 4 straight home games. Then they turned around and win the Big Ten tournament, won 2 games in the tournament.
Yeah.
Before they came down to reality when Auburn smoked them. And I was kind of hoping Michigan State, because you guys won the national title in football, I was kind of hoping Michigan State would win the one in college, but they just didn't have the horses to stay with Auburn.
Yeah, no. And
so they're all number 1 seed. So who you got winning the national title for basketball?
Give me the one that might be a little bit of dark horse. Give me Houston.
Oh, you can take. I was going to say Duke. I think they looked awesome. But
Duke has
you
looked
never
good.
know.
Duke has looked very good.
Yeah.
And Duke is that powerhouse. But I just feel like, I don't know, gut instinct tells me put your money on Houston.
Yeah. Well, I think Auburn and Florida played the first game Saturday.
Yeah, I think so.
Who you got that? Now Auburn's looked really good, but Florida, you take Florida to beat Auburn?
Florida's been really good too. I like Auburn's toughness. I really do.
Yeah.
That's good. That's going to be a great game.
I tell you what, both of them games could end up being great games.
Yeah, I agree, Ray. Anything else on your mind?
So anyways, tell Eric I said hi. I'm praying for him. You pray for me and OH.
I-O. Have a great night, Ray. All right, we have one more call in queue. I'm going to pick that up. If there's nothing there after that, we'll probably wrap it up for the night, but I believe we've got a wrench on the line. Tyler, you still there, my man?
Yeah, I'm still here. I was
man.
laughing at all of them.
Yeah, it's how's it going, Tyler?
Oh, it's great. It's great. Well, I want to go back, piggy off of what TG was saying. Do you know how much of these lawsuits are looking at right now? Roughly?
I don't have the number right in front of me.
I have it saved, Sean. I have it, Chris. $14.85 billion. $5 million per victim.
Yeah, that's insane. And let me tell you, the lawsuits are only going to continue to pile up. And let's not forget, on top of these civil suits, he's facing a $250,000 fine per violation as well from the courts.
So all that NIL money, Michigan, that you invested in Bryce Underwood, yeah, that's going out the damn window. But it's so $14.85 billion from 3,300 victims, $5 million per victim. It was on Twitter today. I saved it on my phone, Chris. And I was like this. And the other tweet that was posted too, it was originally posted for the settlements for every victim, they were looking at $10 million per victim.
Well, and right now, there are 17 victims who've actually come forward in 5 of the separate class action lawsuits.
Mm-hmm.
And this is according to the Detroit Free Press. So all those Michigan fans who are going to blame me for saying, oh, you're listening to this Ohio State source or that Ohio State source. Hell no, I'm not. I'm listening. I'm reading it off the Detroit Free Press, your paper. 17 victims. There's also 11 Jane Does in a separate matter. So they have not come forward. 10 of these were Michigan athletes.
Yep.
7 soccer players, 2 gymnasts, and a volleyball player. There's another former volleyball player from Maryland and one from Loyola as well. And then I heard rumor as well that there was somebody tied to, there was a victim in the Larry Nassar case who's also tied into this.
It's disgusting. It's disgusting. Here's the other crazy part about this. I have it on my Twitter right now. I'll read it. So, this is the post. 3,300 possible victims.
Yes.
Lawsuits ranging from $4.5 to $5 million per victim. So all encompassing demands is $14.85 billion to $16.5 billion. And all the endowments that Michigan would have to pay too, you're looking at $19 billion of lawsuits Michigan would have to pay, Chris.
It's insane. It is absolutely insane. And you know, these lawsuits are against Matt Weiss, they're against the university, they're against the Board of Regents, which having the university and the Board of Regents in there, I think just solidifies the claim that the university knew. The university knew, or else they wouldn't be named in this claim.
And here's another one. This one was highlighted too. This is under the plaintiffs praise this court's grant following relief. Subject A. Enter judgment encompassing the relief request upon plus significant compensatory damages exceeding $50 million, together with costs, interest, and attorney fees, damages, defendants, and such other relief to which they are entitled.
Yeah.
So each victim, if you think about it, Chris, could get $50 million. If you think about it, all the damages that they suffered from, they could get $50 million. What would you do with that kind of money, Chris?
Yeah. Tyler, this is this is, like I said, this has now become, as all encompassing as it is, this has become the largest scandal, maybe not only in college football history, maybe not only in college sports history. This may have become the largest scandal in sports history altogether at this point. If you look at just what has happened under this Jim Harbaugh regime, under this Ward Manuel regime, and I say Ward Manuel here because you have to extend this to what's going on with the hockey program, what's going on with the basketball program. These guys are out of control. And what happened with the football program is just disgusting. And I was just reading here, and they talk about count 23 of the indictment is specific to the University of Michigan and alleges that Weiss access protected U of M computers in excess of his authorization. He was using the university's computers to play his little pervy games, which we all knew.
Disgusting.
And according to the university, they promptly placed him on leave as soon as they found out and forwarded this matter to law enforcement. I don't buy it. I don't think it was done as quickly as they say. Not only that, why did you place him on leave?
Because you know why? I'll give you that answer. They did it out of convenience. because they know they're benefiting from him being in the playoffs. They did it out of convenience, Chris. They knew that he was doing all this, but they didn't want to be distracted by being in the playoffs with all this stuff going on. They did it on purpose.
And I just want to kind of read out this paragraph a little bit, because I think this really states it all. And this is from one of the plaintiffs in the case. Being a student athlete has been one of the greatest honors of my life, but it has also brought me my deepest pain. The very institutions that were meant to protect me failed, first with Dr. Larry Nazar, and now again with Matt Weiss. I'm coming forward and taking legal action because no one should have to go through what I have experienced. These institutions must be held accountable, and I want to help create lasting change so that future student athletes are protected, respected, and truly safe. And that says it all. I mean, this transcends the football field. This transcends sports.
Mm-hmm.
You know, what should have been the greatest time of this young lady's life, going to college, being a student athlete, has become her biggest nightmare. And one it's going to take a long time and a lot of therapy to probably get over.
Yeah.
And I heard this is the one that. Oh, go ahead, Tyler.
No. I was going to say, not only this is her biggest nightmare, Chris, but it's all of Michigan. They're like, okay, and guess what? You're irrelevant to us.
Here's the thing that gets me, Tyler. And I almost lost my mind when I saw this earlier. Someone posted, well, these girls are just filing lawsuits because they want the money. That is now one of the defenses as well. They're just suing because they want the money. Who said that? I again, it was something I saw as I was scrolling. And
was it on Twitter?
I can't remember whether it's Twitter or Facebook, because I'll tell you, I came home and just vegged out on social media for about 3 hours today. And you know, if I was the Podfather, I probably would have had the common sense to screenshot that and put this person on blast. But who knows? Maybe Bobby Mack saw it too. He saw he saw the last one I didn't think to grab and put in the chat where it could be found. But about them being named most popular. But yeah, it sickens me when somebody says they're just suing because they want the money. Does that happen? Absolutely. But these student athletes, these young women, were violated in one of the worst possible ways. And you're going to make light of it, and you're going to try to make yourself the victim or your university the victim. Are you kidding me? I just can't.
I can't either. And you know what also sickens me, Chris, is not only the fact that they don't take accountability, is the fact that not only that they play the victim, it's the fact that when everyone else tells them that you're the perpetrator, when they're the perpetrator, they lash out at the victims.
Yeah.
Tell them they're the problem.
Yeah, it's common. What we're seeing from Connor Stallions, from Matt Weiss, from the Michigan fans, from, I'm sure, anybody associated with this, is classic denial deflection, pointing the finger, everything but taking accountability. So, yeah, I mean, I've just, at this point, I'm trying to choose to ignore it, because if I don't, my blood pressure goes up.
Well, here's my question then. How can you ignore it?
Well, I shouldn't say ignore it, because I don't think
it's
ignore it's the right word.
not. It's not.
I'm trying to let it play itself out in the proper forum, I guess is better, which is a courtroom. That's where this needs to play itself out. Just like the cheating scandal needs to play itself out in the infractions committee, this situation needs to play itself out in a courtroom.
And the other thing too is, if this happened in the military, Chris, it's reported immediately. It's reported immediately when an incident happens.
Well, and it should be, even in college, because that's what the Clery Act is in place for, so that students are aware when crimes are occurring on campus.
But Michigan, you've covered this up for so long, and all these other scandals, you've covered this up for so long because you don't want your dirty laundry to be shown to everyone, and you know how bad it stinks.
Yeah.
How dare you, as a program?
Yeah, there is no defense for what we're seeing, and then I promised myself I wasn't going to address this, but I am going to address it, and that is their fan base, which has gone on the attack against some of my counterparts, and I'm sure you know exactly what I'm talking about. I'm sure people have seen it on X, the chop job that was done to some friends of our program here, the little video clip that was made, and again, that's just their way of trying to deflect and point blame and bury their head in the sand and hide from the truth. I'm not going to acknowledge who did it. I'm not going to acknowledge what it was about, because it's not really necessary to bring it up. But, you know, instead of attacking others, take some accountability on yourself.
Here's my question,
and then
Chris.
hold your just 1 second, Tom, and then hold your school, your teams, your athletes, your coaches, hold them accountable. Go ahead, Tyler.
But how can they hold themselves people and themselves accountable? They've been nothing but bullies the whole time.
I guess that's the $1 million question. I guess that's the $1 million question. I don't have an answer for you. I wish I did. Yeah, I don't know.
And what's the fact that they've been bullies this whole time, Chris? And with everything they do, every cover up, they did it intentionally to just win one national championship.
That's going to be vacated anyhow.
Yeah, they hid all their skeletons in that closet just to get that one trophy.
And can I tell you something else? This is the other argument I'm tired of hearing. The CFP gave them the title. The NCAA can't do anything about it. Okay.
Like hell they can't.
In theory, Tyler, in theory,
I know.
They're partially right. However, just because the playoff committee gives you a bogus trophy does not mean the NCAA has to recognize it. The NCAA will vacate the wins. They will vacate the championship win. And whether the College Football Playoff Committee wants to come and repossess their trophy or not, they will not be acknowledged as champions. They will be acknowledged as the cheating scum that they are.
Now, one big looming question I've always had, Chris, when they lose that title, when it does happen, it's not going to be if, it's going to be when. How many accounts on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, LinkedIn, Twitch, and all these accounts, how many of them are going to just disappear?
None of them, because they're too arrogant to let them disappear. They're going to use those accounts to sit there and say, we're still the champions. You saw us win. You saw us win. We're still the champions. They took our title. They can't take our title. They can't. No. That's what you're going to hear. That's what you're going to see. They're going to talk about how all of college football is bullying them because they are getting what's coming to them. They disgraced this game. They disgraced the game, and they disgraced the game of college football. It's no wonder that we have people out there saying, myself included, it's time to find a new rival. Because I swear, every time I see Michigan take the field, I just feel dirty and slimy, knowing what all they're responsible for. Every time they're on TV, it sickens me. They need to be dealt with in the harshest way possible.
They do. And every time I see them, Chris, every time I see that, in fact, you know what? I ran into a Michigan fan today, Chris, another one, at the gym. Oh, me and him got in a major argument.
Well, I'll tell you,
he was like,
it's pointless to argue with them because it's like having a battle of wits with an unarmed man. You're not going to get anywhere. You're not going to be a better. It's just like me arguing last night with Burks, Tyler. It's not going to get us anywhere because Michigan fans are going to believe what they're going to believe. And again, on a personal level, I actually like Burks. I think he's a pretty good guy from what I've seen of him. And I think he knows right from wrong. And I think when he's proven it's proven, I think he'll change his tune. I really do. But it's pointless to argue with them because they aren't going to know the truth until it jumps up and bites them in the backside. They are so delusional.
Every day, Chris, I try to maintain my composure, but it's so difficult when their media also does not even acknowledge the fact what's going on.
Absolutely right, Tyler. But their media is bought and paid for, and that's the problem. And their fan base is just soaking it up. They're a bunch of little sheep being led to the slaughter. Real quick before you respond, $5 super chat. Thanks, Bobby Mack. The fact that they are currently on probation, they released NOA number 2, and will have NOA number 3 coming soon. They have to get the largest penalty ever. Hashtag facts. Are you in league with that, Tyler?
1,000%.
I agree with him.
This is the most every time I talk about them, Chris, I just feel
it makes your blood boil, doesn't it?
I see it does, and I see it makes my makes my veins pop in my neck. It makes me clench my fist. Makes me want to punch them. But you know what? I don't because I'm not like that.
Yeah. Yeah, 100% agree. So, anything else on your mind?
The last thing I got to say.
Go ahead. Yep.
So one last thing. It's the biggest thing that really infuriates me as well is even when this is all resolved and we get validation that we were right, Chris, they'll never accept it.
No, they won't. That is the level of their arrogance. That's just where they're at. They believe they are so much more than they really are. TG used the word, I've used the word a lot recently, and that word is relevant, which is something they have not been since 1948. Half a legitimate national title since 1948 doesn't make you relevant. It makes you a has-been. You're not a blue blood. You're a has-been. Call it what it is. That'd be like Harvard coming out and saying, Harvard or Princeton coming out and saying, or Yale, we're the greatest football team in college history. We're the best team. We'll take on your champs right now and we'll whoop them. And you know what? In their day, they were the greatest at what they did in their day. 150 years ago. But before face masks doesn't count, guys. And I would almost link Michigan into that same category with the Ivy League schools. They were relevant in the before face mask period. Since then, nothing. Half a legitimate national title.
That's all I got to say, Chris.
Hey, Tyler, I appreciate the call. You have a great night, brother. OH.
I will. IO.
All right, guys, I want to take this opportunity to go ahead and remind you guys one more time about our big spring game. That's right, Eric. We have to update this graphic. It is a spring game again. We need to update this flyer that says the spring game fan appreciation tailgate. It's going to be a cooperation between the OHIO podcast and Second and Seven. Guys, we're going to have some former Buckeyes out there signing autographs. We're going to have food. We're going to have a lot of guys just hanging out, talking football. Bring the kids, bring the family. It's always a lot of fun. Eric and I both bring our families with us. Come out for the food, the prizes, the former Buckeyes, get some stuff autographed. Who knows who's going to show up? We do know Ryan Miller's on the slate. We do know that Mike Wargo's on the slate. So it's going to be a great time. The only thing we don't ask you to bring anything to the tailgate. This is on us, guys. We just want to show our appreciation to you guys for helping support the program. The only thing we do ask is if you could bring a kid's book or maybe a small, bring a monetary donation for Second and Seven to help promote their very worthy cause of helping to promote youth literacy. It's going to be a great time. I'm hoping for our biggest tailgate ever. Eric, I see you're in the chat still. Who knows? Maybe we can bust 100 this year. Maybe more. I mean, come on. We got the power of Ryan Miller and Mike Wargo on our side here. Everybody wants to meet these guys. I know you want to come and hang out with us. So come on down. And somebody asked, do we have to go to the game? No, you don't have to go to the game. You can just hang out at the tailgate. I know some people are just going to be hanging out at the tailgate even during the game. I know my wife and probably my son will be hanging out down at the tailgate during that time. So, feel free to sit there if you want and wait for us to come back, because we're going to have breakfast food before the game. And after the game, we usually do up some hot dogs, maybe some burgers. Who knows? So it doesn't look like we have anything else in queue right now. So I think we're going to go ahead and wrap it up for the night. Thank you all for watching. And as always, go Bucks.